So if you'd invested $1,000 back in 2023, you would have got just under 7,000 for buying and holding, but using the 17-day simple moving average, you would have got 22,000. I built a free app that backtests the best SMA strategy for TAO. How's it going, everyone? My name is Cameron, and I'm going to take you through the app and show you how you can download it and use it for yourself. I built this app to answer one question: what historically is the best SMA for TAO, and can we use it going forward to outperform just buying and holding? What is a simple moving average strategy? Well, it simply works like this. You've got here the TAO price in yellow and the 17-day simple moving average in green. The strategy states that whenever you move above the moving day average, you buy. You go long, so that's, for example, here. So you would go long all the way up to here, taking in just under 19% profits. And then whenever the price goes below the moving average, as it does here, you go short. So you go all the way down to there. And instead of losing 32% or 32.8%, you gain that 32.8% because you're short. You can also go long cash, which is when the price goes above the average, you buy. And when it goes below, instead of going short, you just hold in cash and wait till it goes above the moving average again before you buy in. So all we do when we backtest a simple day moving average strategy is we simply work out how that strategy would have performed in terms of profit and loss had we implemented it with historical data. So the question then becomes, what is the best simple moving average for TAO, and does it outperform just buying and holding? And that's when the app comes into its own. So for example, using a 17-day simple moving average and a long cash strategy, you would have got 196% growth every year versus simply buying and holding, which would have been 95%. So if you'd invested $1,000 back in 2023, you would have got just under 7,000 for buying and holding, but using the 17-day simple moving average, you would have got 22,000. The caveat is we only know that with the benefit of hindsight, but the point is that by following trends, we can potentially deliver outperformance. So let me introduce the tool, and as I said, it's free, and as far as I'm aware, there are no other tools like this for TAO. This is what you'll see when you open it up on a PC. Now there's two assets here you can choose from, Bitcoin and TAO. It'll come preloaded with TAO, but if you are interested in Bitcoin, you can switch over to that. So switching onto TAO, you can select a date range that you want to measure over. You can put in a starting equity amount. This first window is called Quick Strategy Snapshot, and that just gives you a very quick glance at what the best SMA average was for TAO over this time period. Now, if you want to configure elements of the backtesting yourself, you can do that. Just as an example, let me just configure a simple day moving average test now. I'm going to select price versus a single SMA, but you can go for a fast, slow SMA crossover. I'm going to test long cash, and I'm going to test SMAs between 5 and 200. With a step of 1. I'm going to leave the fees as they are. These fees are very similar to what you would pay on Hyperliquid. Okay, I'm going to test over all the data. There is the option to test over certain windows and then step forward and then retest. I will show that in a later video, but I'm just going to test over all data for now. And then we're ready to go. You click Run Rolling, and you see these charts down here. This first chart is the compound annual growth rate by percent by parameter. So you've got the parameters along the bottom, so that's between 5 and 200 as we set up above. You've got the HODL, compound annual growth rate over that time, which is 95.5%, so roughly just under 100% a year. And then you've got all the performances of the simple day moving averages. And as you can see, there's a cluster here starting around sort of 10 or 12 all the way through to 26, where we get an outperformance. Okay, and actually this chart down here shows you the outperformance with underperformance in red versus HODL versus outperformance. So you can see there is the 17-day moving average is the best one. This chart here gives you the drawdown, and then you've got the number of windows or the percentage of windows beating the benchmark. This table down here just gives us a range of information about different SMA strategies. It always returns with the best one at the top. So there's the 17, the next best one's the 15, then the 16, and so on. Let me show you one more really exciting feature of this app, the walk forward mode. This is where we're going to separate our data into a training test set and a testing set. And then we're going to find out the best simple moving average on the training data, and then we're going to see if it actually made us money on the testing data. I haven't seen anything else like this out there, not even for Bitcoin. So we're going to set our testing window as 1 year. So that's basically up until today. And then we're going to train for the year before that. So we're training for a year and then testing for a year. We click run the walk forward strategy. And then we get the following table and chart. So the table, just to talk you through it, you've got the total return, 75%. Compound annual growth rate, we just did it over 1 year, so that's also 75%. And then down below, you've got versus the HODL. So you got 75% return with the strategy versus negative 5.83% return versus the HODL. So that's quite a lot of outperformance. And then this chart down here just shows you your equity over time. So you've got the strategy in orange and the HODL in the dotted line. So we started with 1,000, and by the end of the year, your $1,000 has turned into $1,757 for the strategy versus 941, so it's a loss of just under $60 for the HODL. Now, is that not cool or what? This is an exciting feature you can use right now to test your SMA strategy, and I'll be adding more like it going forward. So that is an introduction to the tool. It is free to use at the moment, and there's pretty much nothing else like it that I've seen, particularly for TAO. This app is very much in a beta phase. I'll be adding a lot more functionality, and I'll also be adding subnets in the not too distant future, so we can track the best moving averages for subnets as well. Right, that's it from me. If you've got some value out of this video, please do subscribe and like. Remember to get your free version of this app while it is still free, and I'll see you in the next one.